our edition here on Full-Time. Wonderful to have you all with us this morning, here on a beautiful Saturday morning in the Rohi o Turanganui Kiwa. Now, first off, we're going to start off with our usual host who has joined us this morning right here in Turanganui Kiwa, is paying us a visit. We have our man Jason Tawhiwhirangi. Kia ora, JT.
Yeah, morning, Keith. And I've said before, mate, it's always marvellous and happy and awesome to be home, and it certainly hasn't changed. The weather's turned on a bit. You're nice and warm yourself, Keith, and great to be home.
Also joining us via the telephone, we have with us our man Rao Walker. Morning, all right?
Yeah, good morning, boys. And as they still call, remember old Tamo Aussie Jim. We've got Aussie J back home now, so good to have Jace back in the hood. Hopefully he catches up with a lot of the whānau around the coast.
And also joining us from Paeroa, in his usual place, we have our man Rino Wilkinson. Morning, bro.
Yeah, morning, boys. Saturday morning, into it, another show of Full-Time, and it's not too bad here in Hauraki, like a pea in a suit this morning, but I think we'll have a lovely day and a lovely weekend.
Absolutely. First off, of course, JT, lovely to have you back home. It must be good to be back.
Yeah, it always is, Keith. Even though we were a bit delayed getting out of Australia the other night, we were supposed to be in Auckland at 11:30 Thursday night. We didn't land till 2 o'clock Friday morning, so a bit of a delay, but better late than never.
So, what is it you're going to be up to whilst you're back home?
Well, it's a couple of things, a couple of birthdays actually. My nan turned 90 the other day, and it was supposed to be a big birthday for her today. But a bit of history about my grandmother. A few years back, the Māori language was dying, and I think Kara Pukatapu and Tamati Redi sort of pulled her aside and said, "Look, we need to do something to try and save our language." So, her and a couple others basically came up with the concept, which is now known as Te Kohanga Reo. So, as a result of that, Nan became reasonably well-travelled and well-versed around the country. But she didn't want a big 90th birthday. She just wanted something small with the family. But then as people found out, and these are people that helped her out over the years, and then she was a bit upset that people weren't able to make it, and that it was just supposed to be a whānau thing, because we as a family have shared our grandmother with everyone for years, and we thought, no, Nan, we just want to have a birthday with us and you, and leave it at that. But because people were upset about not being able to attend and not being invited, I guess is the proper term, but... So she said, no, just pull the pin and we'll catch up somewhere along the way. So we came home for that. And also yesterday was my daughter's birthday, and obviously she was living here before, but she ended up moving back to Australia about 2 months ago now, so I left her there and came home anyway.
Fair enough. So big happy birthday to your grandmother?
Yep. She turned 90 on Thursday. And my daughter was 23 yesterday, so it's a lot of birthdays in our family, and mine's next Saturday.
Nice.
I turned 40.
Oh.
8.
Again.
So, that's good stuff indeed. Of course, great to have you back home, that is for sure there, JT.
Yep, thanks, boys.
Now, Reno, I'm not sure if you've seen that picture of that police officer around wearing a hijab and a rose on her lapel, along with an automatic weapon and armed. But have you seen that? Because apparently that image has gone viral around the world. So have you been able to catch up with any of that sort of stuff there, Reno?
Yeah, I have actually over the last few days. Obviously, yesterday as a country reflected on 7 days ago with that tragedy down in Christchurch, the 2-minute silence, and I'm guessing the station did their little bit as well, like many of the iwi radio stations throughout the motu. But yeah, it's been viral. A lot of the wearing of the head cloak, what they call that thing?
Hijab?
Yeah, the head little wrap. Yeah, around the, and all that stuff. And just to see the people wear it. I haven't actually in particular seen that one you discussed, Keithy, but I've seen more so obviously what's gone viral from what I've just seen in the brief time, because I've been busier the last few days, more on the Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern wearing one. But just to see the country all wearing that, being part of their special day, but not that one in particular, though.
Okay. Well, what's also interesting, and because we had our special vigil on Thursday night, just at Marina Park, just across the river here, and it was quite a sombre sort of a mood, well, understandably, but, it was what was really cool was that it was still charged with a lot of emotion. And one of the things that happened is that Boys High came along and they did the haka, and they allowed, a lot of the whānau that were down there to come in and join in with their haka as they did kamate twice. And my children, who were sitting right in front, said that it was, probably the most powerful haka that they've ever seen there. So, it just shows that our community is, still very emotional. Things are still quite raw. And, we were able finally, I suppose, to stand with a bit of solidarity for Christchurch. Do you feel the same sort of way there, Ra?
Oh, yeah, Keith, yeah. I mean, and it will be raw for a little while yet, even more so for those whānau that have suffered, such a great loss over the last few days. And, to me, regardless of your religious affiliations, it's just awesome that we have come together as a country, as a nation, and, we need to do this more often, not just when times are really sad. But I was mighty impressed the other day when the Muslim school up in Auckland did a haka. Awesome.
Yeah.
They were thanking the community for their support, and that's fantastic to see that unity. And as I say, we need to do it more, not just as a nation, but as a world. I mean. But yeah, good to see Keithy, and I'm glad that our country sort of paid their respects and coming together, as so many communities have done over the last week and a bit.
Now, JT, how do the Kiwis over in Aussie feel about what happened over there?
I guess it's similar to how we feel back here at home. Upset, angry, disappointed, and for me personally, it's a little bit embarrassing because, New Zealand, around the world, I said it last week, is known as a peaceful, our country, the people here are friendly and outgoing, and, it's one of the last places on earth you'd expect something like this to happen, and it's still unbelievable, even coming home yesterday, I mentioned to you off air, Keithy, listeners out there might know Deirdre Nepia, aka Speed, lives in Brisbane, and she put a post up on Facebook asking if anyone was coming home if they could take a phone to drop off, so I said, yeah, I'm going home. So yesterday I completely forgot about the minute or the moments of silence in respect of what happened last week, and I went in towards the Te Puni Kokiri building, just wandered in, and as the doors opened, they're quite rattly.
Right.
So my timing couldn't have been worse, mate. They're right in the middle of their their respect, standing there quietly. Like, oh, what have I done, you idiot? So I stood there and waited and handed the phone over. So yeah, mate, it'll take a while for the wounds to heal if they ever do, and. In terms of how we feel over in Australia, there was a lot of different haka and other signs of shows of solidarity at mosques and places like that. And yeah, mate, even like I said, it's been a week now, and it's still finding it hard to come to terms with, and we're not even directly affected, so to speak. So yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible, isn't it, Reno? And I guess the sentiments that JT has talked about pretty much are still raw, still there, aren't they?
Yeah, very, very raw. I think about the moment of what happened last Friday. That's kind of etched itself into New Zealand history, let alone world history. I was at a rugby league muster on the Sunday, just after we'd done the show in there, and just looking at the kids splashing around in the pool, having fun, signing up for our little league season, having a sausage sizzle. And I said to some of the parents, these kids, they're going to have to learn about what happened on the Friday, because it's going to be in the education sector for many years. I suppose for most of us here in Aotearoa, we reflect on Arrowtown as a mass shooting. Now for New Zealand to what happened last Friday, that's the world's second worst, I think it is, of that type of shooting, the worst one being that young fella in Norway. So it is a massive little cope opera, I would guess, something that's going to be in the education sector here in Aotearoa, and then reflected once again in 1 year's time. And then a year after that, it's on similarity for our country, I would guess, to something like 9/11. We may see changes in the country. The government addressed the gun law as well, the banning of a certain amount of guns, which we'll mostly talk about. But yeah, it is a changing factor for our country is, JT said, a country, it's peaceful, quiet, everyone knows, wants to come to, and well, that's the main reason, one of the driving points behind the guy that did the attack, so yeah, it's going to change the structure of our country, I know that much.
What about the security? What was it like coming into the country there? I mean, was the security heightened at all or anything like that, JT?
Oh, the only noticeable difference was the fact that these days you can scan your passport and go through without having to deal with a customs officer, so that was all shut down and we had to go through and get asked a few questions, which was a bit of a nuisance, but considering what's happened, it's reasonably understandable.
Yeah. And
because our flight had been delayed 2.5, 3 hours, we were already sort of late anyway, so what's another 20 minutes, half an hour added on to the process of entering New Zealand. So
yeah.
Apart from that, mate, it was almost business as usual.
Okay. Oh, so nothing really major?
No, nothing noticeable that was different from the last time or any other time. Yeah, mate, I guess maybe given time and they'd come up with new ideas and policies to try and render those idiots from entering New Zealand, then that might happen. But no, nothing new the other night.
Now, Rino, obviously there are going to be changes to the gun laws in our country. Actually, this will probably affect you even more so, won't it? The gun law changes. What are your thoughts about the changes that they're going to make there, Rino? Ra?
Yeah, well, I love my hunting, or I did when I was younger. I reckon they're great, Keithy, and it has been made mentioned by a lot of people. You don't need a semi-automatic to go out and hunt your prey here in Aotearoa. I mean, just a bolt-action rifle and maybe a shotgun would suffice. And, most of us have grown up in the country on farms, and that is the standard weapons, and that's what you basically need. All the firepower that's out there in New Zealand, it's quite immense for, a small country. And even more so, we don't have incidents like this, on a regular basis, thank goodness, with the amount of firepower that is out there. So, I think it's a good move, and bizarrely enough, a lot of hunters are in agreement as well, because, as I say, you don't need a semi-automatic to go out hunting, a wild pig or something like that. So good to see, but you're still going to have that group that are sort of gun enthusiasts who do prefer, the heavy sort of automatic weapons. And I just think there's a place for them. Maybe keep them in the gun ranges or something, so people can still experience what it's like to fire an M4 or an AK-47, but don't sort of allow ownership, because as we've seen, things can go terribly bad in the hands of the madmen.
Some people still, obviously are going to be unhappy about the changes to the gun laws that are going to be implemented in this country, though. What do you reckon there, Ra?
Oh yeah, no, they will. You can't appease everybody, but thank goodness with what has happened, sadly, and amongst all the sadness, a lot of people are coming around to it. I mean, I think as the boys have made mention, people around the world are surprised the country, a peaceful, friendly country as Aotearoa, have sort of caught up with the world, the not so good side of what happens around the world, and a lot of them are quite surprised. So I think mindsets here in Aotearoa will come around, because we don't want to go down this road again. These are mad times we live in around the world, and anything can happen, as was shown on Friday, sadly, last week. So we don't ever want to repeat of this craziness, and you've got to make a start somewhere. And I think if we if we set the bar and go forward with our new laws, I think hopefully we will avoid this type of craziness. It's surprising to see over in the States. There's a lot of talk over there. They've got a strong gun lobby, the NRA, and they're against what's happening here. But hey, each to their own, and we just got to look after our own people, and as I keep reiterating, hope this madness never ever happens again on our soil.
Well, it's interesting because the NRA over in the US, they're obviously trying their best to, help lobby the